We're live.
All right, school board meeting is back in session at 7:27. Before we start, I received a thank you note that was addressed to the board that I'd like to read. Dear Franklin School Board, thank you for letting me attend Franklin High School this year. I got to meet so many amazing people and did so many amazing things. I really enjoy the close community that this district has, and I can't wait to continue doing fun things in my junior year at Franklin High School. I loved having teachers who you could talk to about anything. It made the transition from an old school to a new school much easier. I really enjoy all the events that go on during the year, like Community Day and all the parades. I hope to be more involved with extracurricular next year, such as yearbook and theater. Again, thank you. I had a really good year. Lily. Lily is Carissa's daughter, who we approved to continue here, and she sent this, so I'm going to send it around, but she sent it out to us as a board, so thank you very much, Lily. All right, so our next item is agenda item 5. I need a motion to approve the minutes of May 16th, please.
So moved.
So moved by Deb. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Maureen. Is there any corrections?
That was
Oh, Lori, I'm sorry, Lori. I'm looking down, I was here. That was Lori, Colleen.
I was gonna say, that didn't sound like Maureen, but
Is there any corrections that need to be made?
he's looking right at you, Maureen. Go ahead, tell him.
You
So,
know, with my eyesight and everything.
you did good. All right. Okay, all in favor of approving the meeting, the minutes of May 16th, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, the minutes are approved. Now on to agenda item 6, which is our finance report. We'll turn it over to Jefferson.
Okay. So I got a few actionable things tonight, but first off, I'll go over how we're doing. Hopefully you had an opportunity to review the financial reports in the board packet and folder. We have spent and encumbered 96.8% of the budget to date, which leaves a balance of $633,467 of unobligated funds. We have expended and encumbered an additional $21,878 since the last board meeting. $10,025 is due to additional regular education obligations. However, we were able to unencumber $28,527 in special education costs, primarily due to liquidating purchase orders unneeded for court-ordered placements. We've encumbered and spent an additional $1,545 in athletics, $2,916 in the SAU office, $1,988 in graduation expenses, and $19,288 in operation of buildings. We have received an additional $50,965 of additional general fund revenue. These are from, again, indirect costs for the administration of our grants, and we've been seeing a lot more reimbursement through Medicaid. We're now up to $106,000 in Medicaid reimbursements, which is closer to my projection of $175,000. But overall, with all of the revenues we have received at this point, we're already $73,547 ahead of what was budgeted for the year. We've also received an additional $264,863 of food service revenue. Part of that revenue was the amount I spoke to at the last board meeting regarding the food service supply chain assistance, which can only be used for minimally or unprocessed foods going forward through September. The current fund balance has recovered again since the previous month's projection, and we are currently at $115,211 above what I've projected for the support of next year's budget. Because of this, I would like to propose for discussion and approval some items for the board to consider for year-end encumbrances. I had put together a memo. I'm not sure if anybody had an opportunity to look at that in the board packet for carry forward encumbrances. I've proposed two projects. One was precipitated from some of the discussion that we had at the last board meeting concerning the challenge with vaping in the bathrooms. We do have a vendor that has given us a quote on environmental sensors or vape monitors that we can install in all the bathrooms that would send an alert if any fumes of such from a vape or whatever a child might be using would set off the sensor and immediately also send an alert to whoever's programmed in the school to let them know that somebody in that bathroom is partaking. I did put in a quote in there from E&E. The sensors were Ricotta. The quote was for 19 sensors. We already have one that we've installed and have used and found it to be very helpful, but that's only one bathroom. The quote was for $46,436. This is obviously just a quote. Once we actually get around to, if we were to do this, we would get multiple bids for this project, but this is just used as a baseline. So I wanted to ask the board if they would be willing to carry forward an encumbrance request up to $60,000 to install sensors in the restrooms at the middle and high school for using unexpended and over unanticipated additional fund balance above and beyond what has been budgeted for next year. Do you want me to do those separately? Have discussion on those separately?
Yes.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions or discussion about that request?
Deb?
Do you have an estimate of what it might cost for installation? Just a guesstimate, or will it be
That's why
done by custodians?
That's why I put it up to $60,000 because the equipment itself was $46,600, whatever. And that's also a 10-year license. That includes, so anything that goes on with those sensors for the next 10 years would be completely covered through that licensing. Yeah.
Does that include all the bathrooms in the two buildings?
I believe so, yeah.
So staff, student, the whole lot?
Say that again?
Staff, student, yeah, all the bathrooms?
Most of the bathrooms. I don't know if there's single bathrooms that we've got on the list. I'd have to double check that. But I definitely know primarily the student-used bathrooms.
Go ahead, Maureen.
How secure are they as far as they're not being tampered with?
Well, that's hard to say. I actually don't know how, obviously if something goes off with it right away, we would know right away because this is a sensor.
I mean, for students to be able to tamper with them?
Yeah, they can touch it, but as soon as they touch it, something goes off. So there's an alert sent out. So we know immediately if someone's trying to do something with it. And then obviously an adult that's receiving the alert would be able to go right to that location and see what's going on.
Go ahead, Tim.
Maureen, we have one here now,
Okay.
and they put it in as a test, and Tim can tell you it works perfect. I helped wire it in through the ceiling and the floors and stuff, so it's basically they would have to get onto something to tamper with it. And the kids have found out that if they use deodorant spray, if you will, like Axe or something to spray it to cover up their vape, this also will censor that, but sends a different code out. So you can tell by what is being seen that somebody's in there. Then as they open the door to leave, a camera is pictures taken. So you can zoom right into exactly who it was immediately. And Tim's and Carrie's been on this and they've used it and it works good. I'm just letting you know because for the last 5 months, I haven't had to repair it. They haven't, whatever they try to throw at it, it's caught and they haven't ripped it off the wall or anything, so. So it works well.
Go ahead, Tim, go ahead.
So I just want everyone to know on the board that those sensors are so sensitive, it will tell you if someone passes gas All right, or if there is literally some, gas coming from the sewer lines, and it will tell you immediately if somebody tampered it. So as soon as someone tampers it, I get a text on my phone, so you're right on it. So.
Yeah, they can be there before the door opens.
Any other questions based on that? All right. So I'll make a motion that we encumber $60,000 for 19 vape monitoring sensors. That it also includes a 10-year license for our school district.
Up to,
Up to $60,000.
Because obviously that's all dependent on what we have for a fund balance, so it can be any number under that.
Up to $60,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Deb. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, it is approved.
Okay, the second item that I am proposing comes from the list of CIP projects that we put together and submitted to the city. This one is related to the middle school paving. I did upload the CIP item itself into the board packet so that you can see the specific details of that. I'm going to open it here myself. But this CIP plan was to, or is to, dismantle a fenced-in area over by the middle school and the area near the IT office, paving that whole area as a parking area for the IT staff, and also paving behind the school. We have an access road that goes down behind the school that's in disrepair. Also a challenge for plowing and things like that. There's also a basketball court at the end of it. What the project would entail was paving an 8-foot wide road and then paving and leveling out the basketball court and repositioning the basketball hoops so they can be used, because the other location had been up by the IT office, but now that we have vehicles parking there, we don't want kids using those particular hoops. That total project originally was quoted for $65,000. I am requesting to encumber up to $80,000 based on the potential inflationary pressures that have occurred since the quote. We received the quote in September of '21.
Are those basketball hoops that are there now, would you be taking them down, Dan, or how would that happen? What will happen on that?
No, the ones at the, where the IT park will be taken down.
Yes, those will be taken down.
Right, the ones down back, right now, there's two together, so we'll be moving one opposite each other
Okay.
when they repave it. And that road in the back that he's talking about is also an access road for the fire department coming through the back. Right now, it is usable, but it's a sidewalk in dirt.
So will the school be taking those down, or will it be part of the project?
It'll be part of that project.
So whoever gets the bid, wins the bid, will take those down?
That's part of it when I
And
talk.
then will they reset them at the new, or is there already two?
There are the two hoops down
There's
there.
two.
There's already two, so we'll just
They need to be
dispose of them?
repositioned so that you actually have a regular
Yep,
basketball
yep.
court back there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. What are the conditions of the basketball ones that are currently down behind the school?
They're fine.
They're good
The
condition?
poles are fine, the rope's fine.
Okay, all right. Maybe any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve up to $80,000 for IT parking area paving the road and basketball court rear of the building as presented by Jefferson.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Deb to accept the middle school paving project, which is one of our CIP projects, for up to $80,000. Seconded, I believe, was by Maureen. All right, do we have any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and it is approved.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, the next actionable item I have is more of a housekeeping issue. I put a memo in regarding the student activity account signers. Because of all of our administrators are leaving, I now have to assign the new administrators. as signers on the account, but it has to be a motion during the board meeting for the bank to accept that. So I've put the 3 requests on this memo. Request to remove Susan Blair and add Robert LaRoche as the signer on the Paul Smith School Student Activities Bank account. Request to remove Ken Darsney, and I don't know if Jay is also a signer, but I don't believe so, and add, are you a signer? Okay. And add Virginia Everett and Vicki Shinneman as signers on the Franklin Middle School Student Activities Bank account. And then request to move Carrie Charette and add David Levesque as signer on the Franklin High School Student Activities Bank account.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Maureen.
They're all speaking.
Is there any further discussion or any discussion?
Is there dual signatures required on those accounts?
Yes, I'm the other Sigma signer
Okay.
on most of those, or on all of them, actually. I can sign on all of them.
Any other discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and it is approved.
All right, the last item I need for everybody to do, this is not necessarily an approval of anything, this is just completion of a required report from the New Hampshire Department of Revenue Administration. The form is called an MS-26C, which is a dependent school district, and we're dependent on the city. This is basically us putting in the values of our proposed budget for next year, and they just need that form. The appropriations and estimated revenues for the fiscal year, July 1, 22 to June 30th of 23. And I just need all the board members to sign this form, so I'll pass it around so that I can upload it to DRA so they can have it in their required documents. When the budget passes, we'll have other documents that need to be signed then at that time. And that is the extent of my report tonight, if anybody has any questions. Yep.
I received an email, you guys and everybody else did too, from the School Board Association for dues. Is that the extent of our costs that belong in the School Boards Association?
I didn't see the email. Typically budget, let's see here. Our NHSBA dues total $4,775.
That's the extent of the.
Yeah, that's all we pay. It covers all of the policy that we have to get whenever they're updated, and any other professional development activities and orientations and all that other stuff that the NHSBA provides.
Does that number include the ed jobs? Because that's usually
It
a
does not.
separate fee.
That's separate. I put under our advertising costs, well, not our advertising, but it's under our superintendent's office dues and fees. It's $850 for ed jobs.
And I think that 42 covers for board members to go to the training.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
too.
yeah. Anything that the board members need, that covered it.
So that money also includes any training that the NHSBA puts on, because we're a paying member, that we get to go to those trainings for free. All right, any other questions for Jefferson? All right, so we'll close that agenda item. Move on to agenda item.
Dan's talking about it. Yeah, good.
You good?
Yeah.
Move on to agenda item 7. Is there any committee reports this evening? Go ahead, Deb.
June 1st, the Finance Committee met and reviewed the minutes, the reconciliations, the treasurer's reports, all the financials that you're seeing today. We spoke about the portrait of a graduate grant proposal. We reviewed the CIP meeting that we attended at the city. And we are going to request an additional meeting with Joint Finance to talk about the questions that we did not get answered in our last meeting when we asked about the tax split, ESSER, and some other projects that are going on in the city and what their long-term plan is, or the revenues once they become revenues for the city. And then we had, as Dan stated earlier, we had negotiations. We're starting with the support staff and custodians. We met with them both tonight to start to review the ground rules and to set some dates for that to begin next month. So we'll be presenting things later on in the school year.
Any other committee reports? Go ahead, Delaney.
Innovation and Improvement Committee meeting on May 25th, where we had a nice discussion with each one of the outgoing principals, with the goal of bringing forward ideas into our strategic plan meeting, which should be in September, to update our plan for the next year. We had a nice summary from each one of the principals as for the progress that has been made at each one of the schools during their tenure and their hopes for the future of their schools. I'd encourage everybody to read the minutes of that meeting. I think it provides a pretty nice history of the progress we've made over the last 5 years or so here, and some hopes going forward. Our next meeting will be in August on the 31st at 6 o'clock.
Any questions for Delaney?
All right. Any other committee reports? All right.
Do you want Carissa to give a portrait of a graduate?
Well, Carissa, you want to give your portrait of a graduate?
Sure. I passed this out to folks. Tomorrow's the day we're gonna submit our. Well, it's not really the day, but tomorrow's the draft for our proposal. So the process has been a pre-proposal that we submitted. Then we get an invitation to apply. Tomorrow we'll submit that. They'll give us some feedback, and then we'll have until July 6th to submit a final one. Here's some notes, and also we're going to refine this with the Bard Foundation over the next couple of weeks. So we're going to have a crew model, which is a little bit different advisory, so it's more collaborative. And students will have an opportunity to have some choice in who their crew leader is. We're figuring out what that will look like. Students did identify crew leaders, so teachers that they were interested in being their crew leader, but we had so many students who didn't participate in the choosing, 60, so we need that number to go up, and so we can do that in the best way we can. Signature tasks will be part of it, so we're thinking about what a guideline for sufficiency is in terms of how do we know how much evidence students need to submit for competencies, so we're aligning that a little bit for credits. We're going to bring on instructional coaches, that's part of the plan, and then we're going to continue this idea of community is campus, and so we had a lot of great events, especially in this last few months, where we've gotten kids out into the community, learning in the community. This month we had a aquatic bio trip on the kayaks. They went down the river. That was really great. And then fourth graders came downtown, plus the crosswalks. So lots of energy around learning in this really great place in Franklin. And we're changing the name, so we're going to change this down here. No more Year of Joyful Play. Next year will be Portrait into Practice. That will be the year.
Very exciting.
Carissa was very excited when she got the news saying asking us to put in for for a third year, because we have to be accepted for that. So it is very exciting about that. I think some of the positive changes were seen by the portrait, and, you know, some of the changes within our schools and stuff. So I know Carissa's done an outstanding job over the last few years with this. Dan and I will continue working with Carissa on the work groups with the other teachers and stuff, so we will continue being part of that group. So, but this will be the last time that they will be funding from the Barr family. Okay, it's only allowed up to 3 times. So after this, we will be putting this into our budget to continue it, because this is almost going to be like a strategic plan. It's not going to be something that's going to be sat out on someone's bookcase. We're going to keep this alive and going, because it's important after the money that the Barr Foundation has so graciously given us. So we've had the discussion about that, about this continuing to be a process and everything. So just so the board is aware that after this funding, we're not going to stop this process. This is something that needs to continue, such as we do with our strategic plan. So just so everybody's aware of it. Thank you, Carissa. Any questions for Carissa? All right. Any other committee reports? All right, we'll close that portion. I'm sorry. Now we'll move on to agenda item 8. Before Dan gives his update, I just want to update the board. At our last meeting, we had we reviewed and went over Superintendent Legallo's evaluation. At that time, you authorized me to negotiate a 2-year contract extension with Dan, in which I have done. After about 5 to 7 minutes of convincing him that this was the actual truth, that I was there to negotiate a contract with him, because he kept telling me I was lying to him. He would not believe me at all. So when I finally did convince him, and no exaggeration, it was a good 5 to 6 minutes of going back and forth and telling me yes, no, yes, no. So anyways, Dan and I sat down. I have negotiated a 2-year extension with Dan at 3% raises per year. Dan and I have both signed off on this contract, and we're very fortunate, very happy to say that Superintendent Legallo will be with us for the next 4 years. So, thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much to the board. My honor to serve with you, so thank you, Tim.
Now we'll get the updates from our superintendent.
Okay, every June, at our June meeting, I asked the board to give me authorization to do summer hiring for our professional staff. That way, that when we interview and hire teachers, I can execute contracts with them. I will still nominate them, but I will not nominate them until the August 22nd meeting. But I need board approval to be able to do that.
I make a motion to authorize superintendent to hire during summertime and bring to the next board meeting after that hire for authorization, finalization.
Second. Which have been made to authorize the superintendent for summer hiring authorization and to bring the nominations before this at the very next school board meeting. Do I have a second? Do we have any discussion? I was second, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, it's approved.
Thank you very much. Okay, I have the following resignations that I need the board to accept. Brianna Cummings, Paul Smith, grade 1 teacher. Peter Gunn, middle school PE teacher. Rachel Tessero, high school English teacher. Molly Horn, Franklin High School science teacher. And Tim Westfall, Franklin High School assistant principal.
I'll make the motion that we accept the resignations as was presented by the superintendent with regret for all of them.
Second.
Second by Deb. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it.
Okay. I have the following nominations for your approval. I nominate Vicki Shinneman, middle school assistant principal. Catherine Robbins, middle school PE teacher. Catherine Evans, middle school special education teacher. 80% and 20% woodshop teacher.
Hooray!
Hooray is right. Daniel Greenrod, middle school guidance counselor. Catherine Cole, Paul Smith School third grade teacher. Zachary Damaris, middle school music teacher. Bruce Blau, middle school special education teacher. Kevin DeLang, high school social studies teacher. Tricia Kent, district-wide reading specialist. And Rachel Bullier, grade 1 teacher at Paul Smith School.
Motion to accept the nominations as was presented by the superintendent.
So moved.
Motion's made, seconded. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it.
All right, thank you very much. Each June, we have to renominate our school district treasurer, so I would like to nominate Spirit Seeker for another year as our school district treasurer.
I make a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation as for Spirit Seeker, the school district's treasurer.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded by Maureen. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, it's approved.
Great, thank you. Last month, we had a discussion about raising the high school graduation credit requirements for graduation. We talked about raising the Franklin High School diploma from 21.5 credits to 26 credits, which also included adding an additional credit of math for a total of 4 credits, and an additional credit of half credit of computer science to make it a full credit, and then 3 electives to get to 26. We also talked about having a diploma with distinction for students that earn 32 credits or more. So Jewel and I and Carrie put a report together for you that is in the board packet or in the board folder. So I am seeking the board's approval to move forward with this for the class of, well, the incoming 22-23 class. So it'd be the graduating class of 2026. So I wanted to have that discussion and hopefully move this forward.
I'll make a motion that we increase the graduation credits from 21.5 to 26 credits effective for the 22-23 school year, which will be our 2026 graduates. Do we have a second?
Second.
Who seconded? Dave, thank you, Dave. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Graduation credit is increased.
Super. So we will work with the policy committee to update policy regarding this so that we can get the policy updated. So we'll speak to what you just approved. Appreciate that very much.
Do you need a separate motion for the diploma of distinction?
You don't?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think you guys just covered it, so I think we're good. Okay, next up, more good news financially. We have received the 5-year 21st Century After School grant once again. The first year amount is $330,000. So we're very excited about that. Thank you to Crystal Alpers at the Rec Center for putting that grant together again for us. It's a great collaborative work we do between the school district and the rec department. So I just need the board to approve the first year funds of $330,000. Let me give you the exact number. Yep, $330,000.
Make a motion that we accept the 21st Century grant for its first year for a total of $330,000.
Second.
Second by Maureen. Is there any discussion? Just so the board knows, Superintendent Legallo and I will continue sitting on their advisory board. They require the superintendent and school board to be on there. So I will continue making that commitment. I know Superintendent Legallo said he will too to them, so we'll continue sitting on the advisory board for that. All right, so all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, it is approved.
All right, thank you very much. Next up is the sale of the lawnmower. We were going to be trading this lawnmower in, and we were going to get $500 for the trade, but we found a gentleman that was willing to purchase the lawnmower for the same price of $500. So I put policy DN in the board packet for your review in terms of process for the sale of equipment and supplies. So I just need the board's permission to let this gentleman purchase our lawnmower for $500.
Do we also have to waive the bid? Because it says in the number 1, by selling the highest bidder.
Let's, to be safe, let's waive that. Yeah,
Okay.
let's waive that so we can just do it. Yeah.
Then I make a motion to waive the bid process for the sale of the lawnmower for $500 in respect to policy DN, number 1.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion to waive the bidding process on that policy? All right, seeing none, all in favor of waiving the bidding process, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and it is waived.
Now you got to approve the sale.
I
of
make
it.
a motion to approve the sale of the lawnmower for $500 as presented by the superintendent.
Second.
Second by Maureen. Motion been made to accept the sale of the lawnmower by Deb, second by Maureen. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and it is approved.
Super. Okay, we have a conflict with our scheduled August meeting date. It was supposed to be August 15th, which is the third Monday in August, but there are several vacation conflicts. So we were going to move it to August 22nd, which is the following Monday, but there's a conflict there as well. So I'm proposing to the board that we have our August meeting on Tuesday, August 23rd. People can check calendars and see if that will work for everybody. I will obviously send out reminders to everybody.
Still 6 p.m.
It would be at 6 p.m., yep, right here in the high school. That would actually be our next meeting.
July, wait, don't have July.
Yeah, we don't typically meet in July, although we should discuss how we're going to handle the hiring of the assistant principal at the high school. I was going to do that as a late item, but I can do it now, Tim, if you want.
First, does anybody have any conflicts, so that way Colleen can, I know she'll make the adjustments on for the dates of the school board, next school board. Does anybody have any conflicts with August 23rd?
I hope you guys say yes, because I already fixed
All right, looks like everybody's all set, so we'll post that. If we can just also, can you send that to Mrs. Ackerman?
Judith Ackerman?
Yeah, because she'll post it out on the town crier.
Sure.
it.
That way
We don't
there-
need to make a motion to change that date, we just need to.
No, as long as the consensus of the board that agrees upon it, we're good with that.
Sure.
You want to do the meeting schedule?
Yeah, let's do the meeting schedule. So we have we have put in the board packet the suggested meeting schedule for 22-23 school year. So hopefully you had a chance to see that. There's a couple of dates that are changed because of conflicts. Always in January, we have the conflict when we do the Tuesday. We obviously have the August one that we just fixed. But I think other than that, the rest of them are on our third Mondays that we're accustomed to.
Unless the June one gets extended again.
So are there any questions about our 22-23 meeting schedule? All right, can we post that on our website too? So the public, and maybe if we could ask the city, or we could send it out Almer to do a mass blast of this, so our citizens know when our school board meetings are?
Yeah, we'll get for it out there.
Okay, yeah, and I know City Hall posted on their activities, so if we could just get that out so our citizens are aware when our meetings are gonna be.
Yep.
And now you can go to that.
So the only other question I had for the board is, I anticipate getting applicants for the high school assistant principal position and trying to interview probably the first week of July is what I'm shooting for. So two things I need. One is board members that want to be on that committee. And the second thing is having to pull the board together to nominate this person and get them started. So I would have to call an emergency meeting to have you come in and approve the candidate so they could get a contract signed and start. So I didn't know how you wanted to handle all of that.
I'm available the 5th and 6th if someone, of the first week of July.
Well, I'm shooting for trying to interview that first week of July so that we can hopefully get a candidate hired. But then I would want to call the board together quickly, assuming we get a candidate. You know, I'm not looking to schedule it now. I guess my question is if I text you all and say, hey, you know, I want to give a notice, you know, 24-hour notice meeting, try to rally at least 5 of you to do this. Do you want to give me emergency authorization just to do this and do it in August? How do you want to handle the hiring of the assistant principal?
I mean, I think, personally, I think if you have a nomination and you just send out the information, and if you get no responses back, I would like to just authorize you to go ahead and forward with it. You know, because coming in for one of these meetings is only like a 5-minute thing, and I hate to waste, you know, I try to give all of you July off, because we all attend so many meetings throughout the year, and I want you guys to at least have more family time for July. That's why I don't schedule July meetings, okay? So I think it makes more sense, you know, we have the trust in our superintendent, you know, and as long as, you know, he sends out the info saying, you know, Joe Smith is who I nominate, and here's his qualifications, and if you don't have a question, you know, let the superintendent hire the person, and then bring us the nomination with, you know, have the person come in in August. So that's my recommendation, so, but
How many
again,
board members do you want on the committee?
2 is great. If we can get 2 board members on the committee, that'd be great.
so do we have 2 board members that would like?
Those are the 2 dates that I could do.
5th and 6th.
It goes
I
be,
could do 5th and 6th as well.
okay, so Maureen and Deb. If for some
You willing,
reason,
Maureen? 5th and 6th.
if it goes beyond that, I'll be an alternate for you.
Okay. So hopefully we can move that quickly.
There's a
See if we can.
conflict, I just want to make sure we can keep it moving, so.
Yep.
Yep. Is everybody else okay with me putting the information out there and then letting you review it, and then I'll nominate in August but execute the contract?
Yeah, do it in the ride.
Yeah, we'll do it in the drive like we always do.
Yep.
Everybody okay with that? So that I don't want to take it as little
No,
of
that's
time as I
fine.
can
I
in
just-
July.
I want to make sure we do it the way everyone's comfortable.
Are there any other questions for Dan pertaining to the search for the assistant principal? All right, is there any other items that you'd like to bring
That's
forward?
all I have.
All right, we're going to move on to agenda item 9. That's our administrative reports. You all should have gotten Jul's report, her curricular report. Unfortunately, Jul was unable to be with us tonight. If you do have any questions on Jul's report, please forward them to the superintendent. He will forward them to Jul.
Jewel just asked me to share that she's excited that she has 67 staff members signed up to participate at some point in the Summer Institute. So we had great participation of staff members coming in August to be part of that. So that's a great number. Yeah.
Wow. We're going to move on to our special education report with Rebecca.
I don't have too much to report. ESY is hot on my plate. So overall, I feel like we are able to staff it in a much better way than I thought we would be able to. So I'm optimistic. I myself will be in buildings quite a bit this ESY in a few locations just to help out. But I'm pleased. I'm pleased with how it ended up working out. Our special ed numbers have gone from 302 to 318. That's from our last board meeting in May. The other piece I'd like to talk about is, what was it? Oh, Summer Institute. Barb, Jewel, and myself have put together what we think to be a really dynamic presentation / professional development opportunities, so I'm excited about that. It'll touch on special ed, aspects of special ed, while also doing the Office of School Wellness and curriculum development. So I'm looking forward to doing that this summer. That's it.
Maybe, I'm like, is she taking a hesitation for a second?
You know, like, it's been a long year.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
But thank you, Rebecca.
You are very welcome.
Are there any questions for Rebecca? All right, thanks, Rebecca. All right, now we'll move on. Unfortunately, our last Paul Smith School Principal's Report, and we'll turn that over to Sue.
I'd like to start by thanking my staff. Can't do it without a great staff, and they are phenomenal. In particular, I'd like to start by talking about kindergarten. We did kindergarten orientation for next year, during which time we screened 46 incoming kindergarten students. The teachers, the OTs, the speech people have it down to a science. We have some really strong data and some exciting data in that we have approximately half of our kids coming in ready for kindergarten, so that's wonderful. I also would like to thank my Title I team. What you have in front of you, I gave you a visual of what the Title I team wrote up for me, and I figured it would be easier to just share our end-of-year data in comparison with our winter data with you, so that you could see when you have fidelity of instruction, you have systems in place, and you have common vocabulary. It really makes a difference. So I'm just going to go over some of the language so that you understand what's going on. One side is reading, one side is math. I'll start with the reading side, just because that's what I'm looking at. There's a little graph at the top that actually gives you the percentile numbers for reading, and then the bottom part of it is the visual. So in the winter, 7% of our kindergarten students tested with the Ames Web Plus early literacy benchmark that fell into Tier 1. That means they were where they were supposed to be in the winter. That was January. When we did it in the spring, in May, 22% of our kindergarten students tested with the same benchmark as Tier 1 students. So you can see the significant gains we made in, it's 4 months, but when you talk about instruction, it's actually 3 months. So you can continue to see the same thing. First grade in the winter was 7%. In the spring, they were 20%. Second grade, 13% to 26%. And third grade from 27% to 34%. What flipped there, though, is the tool that we use. So in the kindergarten, we use the Ames Web Plus early literacy benchmark, and then when we get into the first grade, we use Fontes and Pinnell. Fontes and Pinnell really doesn't have a tool that we can use to assess kindergartners because they rely a lot on our running record and reading of sight words, which is not an appropriate tool for kindergartners. So that's the only flip there, because first, second, and third grade, we continue to use the Fontes and Pinnell benchmark. What's really nice about this, too, is that our end of year and our beginning of year, we didn't use beginning of year data simply because we didn't have all the tools in place. So that's, it's not that we didn't test at the beginning of the year, we just didn't have all the tools in place for consistency. They're now all in place, so you will be able to use the same tools continuing on to the next school year. For math, if you flip it over, again, there's the Ames Web Plus early numeracy benchmark. You can see in kindergarten that 39% of our kids were considered proficient. That's what Tier 1 means in the winter, and 51% in the spring. In first grade, we continue to use the Ames Web Plus early numeracy benchmark. It really has proven to be a great tool, and I need to thank Kate Rose and Jewel Finley for working on finding a tool that would be appropriate for little guys. So you can see there that first grade we went from 21% in January to 36% in May. In second grade, again, with the same tool, that will be the tool that Paul Smith School continues to use. We went from 17% in the winter to 50% in the spring. And in third grade, the winter score was 42% of the students were Tier 1, and in the spring, 54%. So I think this is going to be a tool that the district will find very helpful in supporting not only how our kids are growing, but also to support us in our RTI process for identifying kids who may need a little bit more help than the Title I help that we give at the school. I remind the board that this year, those 4 ladies serviced 121 students a day to provide them with their Tier 2 supports. Let's see, what else do I want to say? I want to thank Mel Gross for being the coordinator of our yearbook. I'm sorry I forgot to bring one, but it's pretty wonderful. I'll try and see if we can get one to Dan so that he can at least have it at the SAU for people to look at. She did a fantastic job in coordinating that. I also want to highlight just a couple of things. We had a huge June. We started with the parade. We had kindergarten screening. We had our barbecue, in which I want to thank Brenda Patel and her team. We served just shy of 600 meals the day of our field day and barbecue. It was just unbelievable. Our parents just came out of the walls, and we really appreciate that's the type of support when you can't have kids coming, parents coming into your school just to see them come out for those extra wonderful things. You know, the fundraising this year through our PTA was just extraordinary. And then this week, yesterday, we had our whole school field trip to Squam Lake Science Center, and it was phenomenal. I don't know how to say anything else, but the kids had a great time. We essentially kept it a school field trip, but we asked teachers to invite one trusted adult to come with us to make sure that we covered everyone. It was a whole staff outing, and it really went very, very well. So it's been a whirlwind month. Very happy with everything that we've done, and today was our last Caught Doing Good. We recognized lots of kids, and they all went home with what Barb bought for us, which was Caught Doing Good water bottle. So every child went home with a water bottle, and they also got to meet Bob LaRoche, their new principal. And then they tumbled me over with hugs, and I almost fell on a bunch of kids, but that's okay. That's for another day. And I think that's it for me, for my final report.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I'd like to see the report here that really looks good. But I have a question. There's about 50% of the kids who aren't on this, aren't showing up in effect. They didn't make this standard. What are we doing with that other 50%?
Well, that's where we have our Tier 2 instruction. So that's where I talk about 121 kids visiting our Title I program every day, 5 days a week. So those are the kids that are getting the extra support. And then the other part of it is what we're talking about in special ed. When what we're offering isn't helping our kids, then we go through the referral process to see what else is it that we can do. This year we also sent 2 of our Title I people, Jen Weaver and Wendy Baudet, for Orton Gillingham training. So that's another level of support for our kids. So if what we have in place, the resources we have in place, our LLI, which is our leveled literacy intervention, if those things are not working for, say, 10% of our kids, what else is it that we can do for those children? So now we're able to offer them Orton Gillingham, which was really designed as a special ed program, but will, I'm sure, prove to support the 10% that isn't supported through our LLI program.
So you think you have additional programs which will pick up part of this 50%?
That's correct.
What would be your estimate of what percentage?
I think that given time, so again, you only have 3-4 months here of growth that's been scheduled. I would say to you that over the next 2 years, you're going to see all of our kids significantly gain, and if they haven't, they'll be caught by the special ed department, and we'll see gains through that department.
What sort of a percentage can I see? What I see?
In what span of time?
So over a year's time, what would I see in the final scores for the spring? Not worried about where they started, but
Right, again, it would be difficult as it depends on where they start. For our kindergartners, we have kids coming in more ready than they've ever been, and so that's wonderful. I would say, so again, you're looking at data that goes anywhere from 39 to 51%, and then you have 21 to 36%. So I'm going to say that you'll see a good 20 percentile, at least, maybe 25 percentile hike over a year span of time. This program really works for our kids, and I think you're going to see a huge difference. I think the nice thing, too, is the earlier we get them. So with our preschool program, Dan knows this, you know, and so doesn't Tim. With our preschool program, we're bringing in peer models. I think that's going to be very helpful. I think the biggest thing that you're going to see, though, the biggest bang for your buck next year is that we're focusing on our kindergarten students next year. So our house model has shifted so that all of Sulloway is kindergarten and our K-1 program. And so all of those teachers are going to be working together along with a case manager designated for kindergarten and our reading specialist to really target intervention for those kids who are not ready. If I showed you or spoke to the data that we gained just from our 46 kids that came in, and I assigned points to them of 6 points being the highest points and 0 points being the smallest amount of points. So there were two things we measured, if you will. We measured academics and we measured behavior, okay? In those two areas, kids could achieve green, which was 3 points, yellow, which was 2 points, and red, which was 1 point. So if you were on level in academics and behavior was responds to questions, is able to play appropriately with their peers, interacts with adults, can answer questions, those types of things. If it was a child who could come in and do all of those things, they achieved 2 greens, which was 6 points. If they couldn't, then there's a possibility that they could score 0, okay? So out of the 46 kids, we had 16 children score 2 greens, which is 6 points. We had 6 children score 5 points, which was some combination of, it could be a yellow and a red, that type of thing. And 9 kids who scored 4 points. So if I just stop right there, you have 32 kids, which is more than half, scoring average or above average, because the 2 greens is proficient with distinction, really, when you think about it in our language. And we have approximately 15 kids who are going to need some extra help. Of those 15, I would say I've identified at least 2 or 3 who are going to need more significant help. And so we'll be able to identify those kids right away and get them the help they need. So it's essentially the same thing that I've done all along in the 5 years I've been here, is taking kids, identifying where the children are, what the needs are, what's getting in the way. Is it language? Is it exposure? So for a lot of our kids, it's exposure. And then really targeting those areas and helping them improve. I will tell you, though, that a lot of times, as I said when I first started at Paul Smith School, it's all about confidence. It's all about feeling safe and having trusted adults that are going to help nurture them on their way. So that's what I'm hoping for Paul Smith School, and I believe in 3 years you'll have a significantly different database to look at if the work continues.
Are there any other questions for Sue? All right, thank you, Sue.
You are very welcome.
All right, we'll move on now to our middle school report from last one, unfortunately, again, from Ken.
I'm really sorry, the cameraman's a little fast on me, and he didn't get me while I was on my chair. So I apologize for the fact that there's not a prepared report, but I was told not to make one, but it doesn't mean I don't have anything to prepare. Let's start out with a couple of events at the school. We had our very first full student body, parents, everything available, spring concert. The spring concert was a comprehensive evening, including a concert, an amazingly successful book fair. Over $3,000 worth of books were sold through our book fair, and our first in several years pulled pork dinner with all of our parents and all of our families, our kids, and they came. The kids performed. We broadcast live, so if you have the chance, please go to our YouTube channel. There is first the concert there, so that's the first event I want to report. The second event I want to report is not shortly after. We had a string quartet, a woodwind quartet, come to perform to our kids, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, which was some amazing experience for them to see live music performed for them. That also was broadcast on the channel. We had our last of forever of the year student and staff member of the week recognition, also broadcast, which included students of the week, staff members of the week. We rewarded our kids for participating in our blood drive, who recruited people to our blood drive, and kids who helped out with the book fair. So we had recognitions for them. Obviously, we had our graduation, which was an amazing event last evening. We blew the doors off. We ran out of chairs. Fortunately, a lot of people brought lawn chairs, and next year I would very much encourage us to encourage people to bring lawn chairs because they're a lot more comfortable than those chairs, and we really filled it all out, had a great evening, and thank you all for participating. And then today we had our end of the year awards ceremony again. We recognize our kids for honor roll and different events and activities and sports, and we had some parents come along, but we had quite a few viewers. I will say that we've already had, last I checked, 75 viewers of our graduation since we last showed it, so we got some very good viewership for there. We had 2 field trips. Thank goodness, with a little bit of dancing, they were both scheduled for the rainiest day of the spring. Rainiest day. So we moved the downtown field trip to the next day, which the weather was gorgeous, and the kids had a wonderful time on to that Friday. And then we also moved our 8th grade field trip to Maine to the next week, and again had great weather and great participation at that. And we've completed our SAS testing, our statewide assessment testing, grades 4 through 8. So grades 4 through 8 did English language arts, which is 2 tests, reading and writing. So that takes 2 full testing periods. Then in addition to that, we gave math testing for all of those kids. And then grades 5 and 8 did science testing. I just finally completed it, as a matter of fact, last Friday because we had some makeups, and there were some days when we had as many as 60 makeup tests administered because we had kids out with COVID or for whatever reason, so therefore we had to make sure we got all of our kids tested, so we got all of that done. I have downloaded that information and I provided it in a shared folder for the entire staff and for the new administration. All of our kids' test scores, including the 3rd grade test scores, are available to our teaching staff and to our administration, including alphabetically ranked scores and math and ranked from lowest to highest. So that information is available for analysis by our new administration, which I will allow them to provide them with the results of that analysis on their own part. And anything else?
I think that's okay.
We've had, I have to say, while you're asking, an amazing several weeks with Officer Tracy as our school resource officer. Miller is a very, very welcome, except for the fact that today he used his tail and he whacked my coffee off the table and dumped it in the thing, and he ate my lunch one day. So he's not very popular with me or today with the custodial staff. But it's really been wonderful. She's been an amazing addition to our staff, to our school environment. She creates both a feeling of safety and a sense of community with herself and the dog. And I really want to say the community really has to know what an amazing job she's been, and I hope that she's able to continue working with us.
Okay. Any questions for Ken? Jay, any parting words you'd like to say? It's end of year, you don't have to give discipline.
I won't give a discipline report, but I will piggyback on what Ken had to say there. You know, you think about having an SRO come in and help with some discipline and help with really relationship building in the community, and how easy it would be for her to try to step on toes, or not even try, but to step on toes of an administrator. she came in seamlessly, and she's been such a wonderful asset to work with, that her and I just bounce off each other, and at times it's got to be a scary scene for some of these kids to see the two of us work so well, because they know they can't get out of things. But and separately, it's been wonderful to know that she's been there, and I really appreciate the addition, and it's been taking some sleepless nights away from me, which is nice. And I appreciate everything that the school board and Dan and everyone has done for us. I do really appreciate the 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you.
Tim, can I just add one thing?
You most certainly may.
Because I don't want Tim Hazelton upset because I didn't say something or it fell out of my brain. I think it was Friday the 17th, we took the youth club to Fisher Cats game Friday night. I believe, if I'm remembering the number correctly, he told me we had 133 members of Franklin families join us at the Fisher Cats in Manchester. And if you haven't seen it, because I posted it on Paul Smith School Facebook page, I think it was the best performance I have ever seen from our youth club. They did an outstanding job. And I just want to thank Tim for his hard work with the youth club, because that is an additional responsibility he takes on. And not only does he teach our third graders, but he teaches our adults too. And it's just a wonderful community experience for our children and our families in Franklin, and I thank him.
We'll come down to our, again, unfortunately, our final high school report with Carrie.
Okay, so it was really nice for us at the high school level to be able to go back to some normalcy for the end of our school year. We had a wonderful senior trip down to Six Flags in Boston. We also had a spring concert right on our front lawn of the high school. We were able to have Underclassmen Awards, which Portrait of a Grad was used as the scaffolding, so students were recognized following the characteristics and what we've been doing, which was a nice surprise to the students, so I wasn't just like the top in the class, and that went over very well with the students. We were able to have our Golden Grad dinner here, so staff administration cooked for students and families that had met that criteria. We even had a class night, so the seniors were able to get some of their awards early and families were able to come and celebrate, so it was wonderful. We tried something new towards the end of the school year. We did competency recovery afternoons for students, so it'll be interesting to see what the data is for the student success. I wanted the board to know how much we appreciate Ariel Braggins. She's our graduation coordinator. The effort that she put into putting some new traditions forward for the students this year, including, setting their caps and setting their tassels at class night. She brought a new spin to that tradition and that culture, which the kids really liked, and I really liked seeing after all these years. So we'll continue moving forward with those pieces. I'd like the board to know that out of the senior class, 18% are planning to attend a 2-year college, 40% are planning to attend a 4-year college program, 26% are doing working in the workforce, and then 16% are doing other programs like LNA, firefighting, online school, and then college. So it's just some data, and I just wanted to share some information from the continuing data from the senior group. I did share this at graduation, but 32% of this class took a running start course, whether it be English, Spanish, manufacturing, or culinary arts. 16% of them took classes through Lakes Region Community College, and 32% of them took an advanced placement course. And we have 13% of them participated in in courses at Hewitt, the Technical Center, and Winnisquam Agricultural Program, and 8% participated in extended learning opportunities or internships. And academically, 24% of this class received honors cords, and they are also 24% of them are also members of the National Honor Society. 21% of them were New Hampshire scholars, and 29 were Golden Grads. And in line with the school board increasing the credits, 74% of the class completed more than the minimum graduation requirements, 50% earned 24 to 29 additional credits, and 24% earned 30 credits or more. I had the students who earned more than 30 credits stand at graduation to be recognized. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about Brianna LaFlamme. She's a senior who graduated. She did a total of reported 1,665 community service hours, the most in the senior class. So we did recognize her at graduation. And let's see, I'll let Tim talk in a second, but
Gee, thanks.
I'll let you talk in a second, Tim. I just wanted to say that the 20 years that I've had in Franklin, starting out as a classroom teacher and being a principal the last 6 years, Franklin has gone through a lot of positive change. We know what happens inside of the building. I wish I would have had Tim with me 6 years ago. We joke about it. But we've been able to make a lot of positive change, and with the Portrait of a Grad, the school's going to continue at the high school level to move forward and even make some more changes. You know, we've done a lot with the sportsmanship and the school culture and climate, and getting the students involved with Portrait of a Grad so they have a say in their building. That's going to change and keep the building moving in a positive trajectory. So I'm just so thankful that we've had the wonderful staff that we've had, the administrative team that I've been able to work with the last 5 years, and the board and Superintendent Legallo. We've just been fortunate, and having Carissa come on with Portrait of a Grad has been wonderful so that we can move everything in a more positive direction. And I'm going to miss my families and my kids and my staff and the community, but I'll still be around. You'll see. Okay, Tim.
All right. I want to take this opportunity to thank Principal Charette, Superintendent Legallo, the school board for the opportunity to serve the students and the community. I also want to thank the staff here at the high school for embracing all of the ideas that we put forth in order to improve student outcomes. They have done so willingly, they have done so with enthusiasm, and we wouldn't be here where we are today, and we are headed in the right direction. There are steps being made and progress that is demonstrated without their willingness to accept new ideas. So I just want to say thank you. The experience here in Franklin last years has been invaluable, and I really appreciate the opportunity that you guys gave me to sharpen my leadership skills over that time. So thank you.
Carrie, any questions for either Carrie or Tim? Again, thank you to all our Harding administrators. Good luck in whatever endeavors you entail. Sandown is going to be very fortunate in very good hands. I'm jealous of them, but good luck with it. Ken, DOE, good luck. Sue, I believe you're going on to do some teaching? Okay, so she's going to be going on. So good luck to all of you. The best in health, and you know, whatever comes forward for you, you all deserve it. So thank you. All right, this brings us to our facilities report. This one with Dan, it's traditional in June when we have our facilities report, is to give us an update on what his intentions are for the summer. So we have an idea of what things are going to take place in our school over the summer months. I have no clue. He's killing me. So this will give an idea of what some of the projects and things that Dan plans on doing over the summer. So Dan, it's all you, buddy.
Okay, good. Hello. First off, I want to recognize, I don't know, I'm sure the board knows it, but we had 3 students that were 11th grade that actually graduated this year to the 12th grade. So I believe, in my own opinion, the school's doing something right. If they can bring 3 students from 11th grade to graduate in the 12th grade, they jump a year. They're learning and they're teaching, and I'm proud of the 3. And I think that we've got to be going in the right direction for that to happen. I haven't been here very long, but I don't know how many years that we've had students jump in the past, but this year there was 3. So I'm proud of them girls. Back to my deal is I want to bring up to date where I'm at. All the air filters and HVACs have been cleaned on all 3 schools this past week. So the HVACs, air coming in has all been cleaned. We have that done twice a year. The mini vacs and the mini splits that we have been pressure washed and cleaned. I had the backflow testing done in all 3 schools already. That's been completed. What we're looking to do for the summer is I have, we're going to restripe all the lines in the numbers in all 3 schools. This year, there's a little bit of problems with the students where they're supposed to be parking, so we're gonna make sure that all the numbers and all the lines are gonna be redone. I have, as of right now, I believe with Mr. Yu's students, 8 students that are gonna be working with us through his department. And they're gonna be helping Jerry as far as line striping and in the fields, cutting along the fence lines and stuff. The kids seem to be working great last year. I'm gonna have a group of them in here. My plan is to finish painting the second floor dark blue and starting on the 3rd floor. We have limited days that we can paint, so I don't know if I'll finish that, but my intentions are to get that done. I do have Impact Fire coming through tomorrow, and they're gonna be starting at the Franklin High School, and they check all of our extinguishers and everything in place there. Moving on to Paul Smith and Franklin Middle School, and that's gonna take probably 2 days to do that. I have set up to redo the floor at the middle school this year in the gym. And with that being said, I'm going to try to seal the floors at the Franklin Middle School. There's cement floors in the bathrooms. And what's happening is, it's worn. It's worn right down to the cement. So we're gonna reseal that. I've been working with a gentleman at Abishon Hardware that has a special formula to put on the floors. And he's willing to let me take what I need to do one bathroom for free and see how it works. And what it's gonna do, it's gonna seal the cement, and it's gonna hopefully seal the smell and stuff, because we're getting to a point where we can wash them in pressure washer, but the stains are there, we can't get up. So with this, it's gonna be a self-etching, it'll clean the floor, then we'll put a sealer on, it's gonna be a 2-part system, and that should cure it. And if that's the case, we can go in there and wash them during the regular school year without the problem we've been having. And I think Ken would come back just to see that done. Because that's been a thorn in my side since day one with these floors. We've tried different stuff, but now they have something without bringing a company in and costing us, $10,000 to do it. We're gonna try to do it ourselves. They're saying it works, so if I can get a deal with this guy, if it doesn't work, I'm going to, that'll probably be brought up on the next board meeting if it works, the cost and going forward with that.
Take pictures.
Take pictures. I will take pictures prior, yeah.
No, just take pictures.
Okay, I think that's about it, what we got going on. We are going to move forward with a new lawnmower, the one new lawnmower. Ours is 13 years old, so hopefully we'll get that for the fall sports, so they get the fields and stuff done with that. I am looking for a custodian at the high school for second shift. My other custodians, some of them moved into the first shift positions when the openings were available. So right now, it's just looking for one custodian, second shift. And with that being said, I have a former student here working part-time that Kerry scoffed from underneath me to help teach, but he's been working with us 4 hours a night on the second shift, and he's willing to go full-time for the summer until we can hire somebody. He's a great kid, and he's going to college in Plymouth. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Dan. Good luck with the summer.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be busy.
Can I just add something? I just want to add as well that we do have Work Camp New England coming in this summer. That's the mission group that's been trying to come in for about 2 or 3 years now, since before COVID. And Dan and his team have done a wonderful job getting ready for them to come. They will actually be on site July 8th, and they're staying for 2 weeks. Then that will be at the middle school. But we're ready to host them, and really happy they're coming to Franklin and going to do all the community projects with the residents that they're going to accomplish. So I just want to remind the board that they'll be here as well. If you're wondering why the middle school's so busy for a couple of weeks, that's why.
Exactly. With that being said, we're juggling where we can clean and where we can't clean as far as stripping and waxing the floors between summer school and that camp. Yeah, the pressure's on.
All right, excellent.
I like a challenge.
Yeah, you always have. All right, so that'll move us on to agenda item 10, which is our policy. As you can see, we have a long list here, so I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. To our team, thank you very much. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon.
Take some cookies with you. Take some food.
All right, so we have no second reading, so We're going to go right to our first reading. Our policy committee has been extremely busy over the last few months. So again, this is only for first reading, okay? So no approval for it, just need approval of first reading and that's it. So I'm going to go down the list quickly. It's JLF, reporting child abuse and neglect, CBEB, staff conduct, CBEAB, mandatory code of conduct reporting, all employees, GBEC, drug-free workplace and drug-free schools, GBI, staff participation in political activities, GBK, staff concerns, complaints, and grievances, GCCBC, family medical leave, FMLA, GCG, part-time and substitute professional staff employment, GCO, teacher performance and evaluation, JKAA, use of restraints and seclusion, JLD, school guidance and counseling program, GCI, professional staff development opportunities, BIE, board members identification, FF, naming of district buildings and facilities, GBCD, background investigation in CHRC, IHBB, gifted and talented students, IJOC, volunteers, JICE, student publications, JIH, student search and their property, JIHB, search of students' automobiles on school property, JLIA, supervision of students, KI, visitors to the schools, JF, enrollment, JRA, student records and access, FERPA. So, FERPA, yeah, thank you. So I just did the motion to accept this first reading.
First, moved, so moved.
Seconded? Seconded by Maureen. Any discussion?
Let's see. Does a lot of this have to do with legislation from this year?
No. Yes, it does. Not a lot of it, but there is a good portion of it in there, so. Some of this is also updating some of the policies we didn't get to. So this is kind of going to, hopefully, I believe, if I remember right, this brings us right up to date, right, Dan? Yeah. So there is some stuff in there. Any other discussion? Yeah, Maureen seconded. Okay, seeing no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Remember, you will have 60, well, we still have 5 here. You'll have 60 days to do this, so you have a little bit extra time. Write down any notes that you have, any questions you have, please. Next one's going to be our withdrawals. Okay, I'm going to go down through them, and then I'm going to lead a motion to withdraw all of these. As you can see, there's the reasons why. They're duplicates or whatever may be the reason, okay? So we got JEDB, student release precautions. It's a duplicate of JHC. JF is our student rights and responsibilities. It's a duplicate of JI. JHCCA, students with HIC, duplicate of EVCG. JHCE, insect stings, life-threatening emergencies, duplicate of EBBC and JLCD. JICH is our workplace, drug-free school, it's a duplicate of GBEC. JICIB is bullying and cyberbullying, it's a duplicate of JICK. JO is our student records, it's a duplicate of JRA. KBA-E1 is right to know implementation. It's a duplicate of BEDA. KBAR, it's the public right to know, public access to records. It's a duplicate of EHR. KBC is our student release precaution, duplicate of KDA. KBC1 is our news media relations. It's crisis intervention. It's a duplicate of EBC, and KGA is use of tobacco products. Again, it's a duplicate of JFG, so we need to withdraw them, please. I need a motion on that.
I make a motion that we withdraw all of the policies policies that you have read.
Thank you. So motion been made to withdraw the policies as is presented. Do I have a second? Second by Lori. Thank you, Lori. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, they're withdrawn. Okay, that closes our policy. Agenda item 11 is late items. Does anybody have any late items that need to be brought before the board? Seeing none, we'll close that portion. Agenda item 12 is public participation. As we can see, our public has left us, and we have nobody with us now. We do have one other item to go into for non-public session.
I make a motion to go into non-public session under RSA 91A3, paragraph 2, A, C, E, K.
Actually, this one, Deb, is just for personnel.
All right.
So Colleen, this non-public is just for personnel, so it's still under 91A3, paragraph 2, but it's just under personnel.
And at what time?
Yeah, motion, well, we haven't gone in yet, so, but the motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Maureen. All right, now I need a roll call vote.
Maureen Obey.
Yes.
Deb Brown.
Yes.
Delaney Carrier.
Yes.
Lori Cass. Yes. Tim Dow.
Yes.
And David Testament.
At 8:53, we're in non-public.